Welcome to Come 235 Kitchen Talks, and we are going to start at the beginning. Like we said in the first video, a look at Genesis. So today we're going to look at just the first verse, Genesis 1:1. I believe it's the best place to start, the beginning. So, Miriam, how did you start your day?
When I woke up this morning, the first thought that went through my mind was, how am I going to accomplish everything that I need to accomplish today? Yeah, so.
And Rachel, what about you?
My first thought was, what day is it? And I need to get coffee.
Coffee and Jesus, right?
Yeah, coffee and Jesus, love it.
Yes, and today I started with my quiet time, and then I started working on my lesson plans. And you know, as like we look at that, all of us started our day with a plan in mind. We started the day thinking of what's ahead. And I think, you know, if we look at Genesis as God's beginning, God's start, that tells us that he had a plan, he had a goal or a direction. And so Genesis already tells us, the fact that it's a book of beginnings, it tells us that he has a plan, a direction.
Yeah, and Genesis has, I want to say, the answers to all questions. It deals with everything: marriage, sin. I mean, what went wrong with us? Why do we kill each other where there are so many wars? Why does your 2-year-old say things that he's not supposed to say? So Genesis tells us about everything that we need to know. That's why it's a lovely place to start. Yes.
Yes, but let's look at the context. Genesis was written to the Israelites. They were a people, God's chosen people, who had spent years in slavery, and God miraculously got them out. And then they were spent 40 years wandering. And imagine 40 years of walking in the desert, wandering. I mean, by then you've had new children. They're wondering what is going on. Why are we walking? So it's written to remind them. And most people believe that Moses wrote it, and Moses wrote it to remind them of God's faithfulness, of why they were where they are, and to remember that he had a future plan. He had a goal in all of this.
And don't we all connect with that need to remember? I know I don't remember anything unless it's written down or it's a note on my phone. But even more than that, I struggle to remember God's goodness, especially when I'm gripped with fear or anxiety, or I get weighed down by the news, by the evil around me, and I forget that God is faithful and can be trusted. So I think I need that call to remember the character of God.
And I think God constantly puts throughout the Bible. In the Old Testament, the Israelites were told many times to build an altar to remember this time that I was faithful. Or in Deuteronomy, he reminds the parents to all day long talk about me so you can remember my faithfulness. Miriam, have you ever gone through a time where you lost your faith or you didn't see his faithfulness?
I think we all go through those moments. Yeah, there's so many that I've gone through, but one that stands out, and my sister will forgive me for bringing this up, but anyway, I love you so much, was a time when I was having fights with my sister. And, in that moment, it was so hard to remember that, hey, she is God's creation, the same way that I am God's creation. It was so hard to remember that, but thank God for his grace. Eventually, I remembered, and that was sorted out. Yeah, so yes, I have been in that moment.
We all have. We all have gone through. We probably are going through times where we've forgotten his faithfulness. And it makes me think of Hebrews 11, the big faith chapter in the Bible. And it starts off by saying, remember he created so that your faith can be built. And so it has to, like, he constantly reminds us to remember so that our faith can be built. So listeners, where are you? Are you lonely? Are you hurting? Are you stressed? Genesis 1 has the answers, and he's calling you to remember. So let's get into the word. Rachel, can you read for us Genesis 1:1?
I can. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Thank you. Very easy.
Dramatic, wow.
Yes, and it's a very powerful start. And what we're going to do is spend some time going through each word. But we need to clear up an assumption. The assumption we have here at this table is this word of God is inspired by Him, it is true, and everything it says we believe. Full stop. Okay, so we need to stop and take some time to delve into Genesis 1:1 and look at His desire for a relationship with us, His desire, His plan for us.
And just thinking about this, it helps us when we know there's a creator. It helps us in those moments. I think of Peter when he was in jail. What helped him was remembering, hey, I have a God who created me. So as we look again at God as our creator, it is to help us even in those moments where we feel like, oh, I am lost, I am confused. And let's go back to the person who created us.
And it's such a good, powerful example, Miriam. I've never been in prison. That's where Peter was writing it. But
Neither have I. But if you haven't been in prison, that's all right.
yes, but we've probably felt imprisoned by our circumstances or burdened by pain or exhaustion.
Even a few weeks ago, as I was going to bed, I said to my husband, I just feel like we're in a nightmare that never ends. I'm trapped. When can we fill the house with people?
Yes. And a God who created the world has answers for that, has comfort and encouragement. So let's jump in. The first three words are in the beginning. That's where He started. The very powerful, it shows He has a plan. Like we said in the start, in the beginning, when I start something, I have a plan in mind.
Amanda, that reminds me of, the old times we know in Africa when people used to sit around the fire and the young people were told about this is where we came from in the beginning, this is who we are in the beginning, this is what happened. And in that setting, they got to know who they are, and it informed their behaviors, it informed the decisions that they made. So in the beginning.
And I think that's powerful. Stories have a beginning and an end, but in the middle of it, they have a climax, they have ups and downs, they have a good and a bad person usually. And you know what? It's awesome that in our Bible, yes, we have the beginning, but we also have the end. So we're going through these ups and downs right now, but we know the end.
That's so true. I think there's so much comfort and strength in knowing the ending. But talking about that, when I start a new book, I love reading. I flick through, I want to know the ending, I want to know everything's okay. My husband is the opposite. We start with the index and everything is in order, or instructions for, something or other. I'm flicking through, pressing buttons, it's not working. He's in the beginning, let's go through in order. But for me, I love to know the ending. I love to know where we're going. Same with films, I want to know it's all going to be all right. But I think that helps us in life. We're so privileged to know the end that it gives us the comfort and the reassurance we really need to go through those hard days or weeks or months. Those trials are so much easier when we know where we're heading.
Yes, that was a powerful illustration. I've never actually read the end of a story before I started, but we look back to the first question we asked, how did your day begin? Like we're saying, it shows us that we are working towards something and God has a plan towards something. And in the beginning, every day, every moment, every year that I've been given, I can know that He has a plan. He has an ending in mind.